Before the video starts, I know some of you guys are wondering the things that I am buying, as well as want to know what that cheap eBay Trijicon was on my last video. I know I've seen a lot of comments about you guys asking for that. Well, guess what, guys? Now we got a campsite page. That's right, a campsite page. So feel free to check my bio or link in the description. And yeah, you'll be able to see all the links for things that I purchase and or review moving forward on the channel. So I hope you guys do enjoy that. I'm working pretty hard to find you guys some of the best deals on budget stuff that isn't absolute garbage. So if that interests you, please check out the campsite page down below. What is going on, you guys? It is Jerigo here. A budget ACOG for $100? How good is it? Now I wanted to talk about this pretty dope $100 ACOG clone that I found. Now before we go any further in the video and I start talking about this optic, I do want to be real 100% with you guys about my relationship with this company. I had emailed them on my little Gmail account and I asked them, hey, could you guys send out an optic for review? They said, yeah. I did not promise any of my opinions to be, you know, an absolute just circle jerk or me to be on my knees absolutely glazing this thing. This is still definitely going to be an honest review and my thoughts. Now with that out of the way, let's get started with my opinions. What do I think of this optic? I actually think it's pretty good. Pretty decent for the price point that it's set at. Now, if you guys know anything about ACOGs, man, oh boy, they are pretty pricey. When it comes to something like an actual ACOG, holy moly, that price point is insane. So I must say that for the price point, the company absolutely nailed it with it. This bad boy right here, I got on my cheap little 10.5 Gordy soon-to-be finished build once I get a light and can on it. And I went to the range, tested her out. What do you get when you buy this optic from the company? What comes in the box? What comes in the box? So you get a little Allen key. You know, you get a little Allen key. Comes with its own mount. It mounts to any Picatinny. You get your 3x fixed scope, and you also get an RMR with red dot already on there. Now, I do have some things to say about the red dot included up top. It is definitely not the highest quality. The red dot up top has one of those little flip switches that you would see on toys that you played with when you were 7. You know, those little AA toys. That is how you turn the red dot on and off, with that little switch right there in the back. While the red dot up top is definitely not the best red dot on the market, it is pretty cheap and flimsy. Hey man, how is the actual scope? Is the actual scope good? Well boys, I've got something crazy to say. It's actually pretty fucking good. I shot some pretty decent groups with a 10.5-inch AR, and if you guys know anything about a 10.5-inch AR, it is pretty loud and it's pretty, I mean, it's not that crazy on recoil, but it's, you know, it's definitely worse than your 16-inch or 20-inch uppers. Yeah, it held zero pretty okay. I shot about 6 5-round groups just to see how it would do, and then I also shot on the move with both the red dot up above and the actual ACOG. And I must say, for the price point of $100, dude, this thing held zero. Did everything that I wanted it to do. Granted, I was just flat range shooting. Oh my god. Look at that, guys. You see that right there? Holy moly. I fit my pinky through there. That's pretty good. I did not get to do an insane durability test. However, there is definitely a guy out there who has durability tested Pinty's optics before. And I think he dipped them in the fucking hot tub like twice for quite some time. Like, took him out and he was like throwing them around and shit. So Pinty as a company is not a company that is new to me, which is why I definitely wanted to see what they had to offer as far as their higher end optics are concerned. Because if you look at Amazon, you look at Pinty, yeah, there's so many of these optics that you could buy for like $20. But how much does that extra dollar stretch? What do you get? You know, if you pay that premium, while granted it is still cheap, you know, you are only paying $100 for a fixed 3x magnification scope. How does that run? I was curious, so they sent one out to me. Really actually enjoyed it. Now, while the dot up top definitely does have its flaws, while the scope is kind of the tits and runs pretty goddamn well for what I needed it to do, the red dot is definitely the downfall of this optic. It is very cheap. It's just very cheap feeling. You can tell it's some kind of polymer reinforced metal. I did move and shoot with it and was able to get some pretty decent shots where I needed them. It served its purpose, but I do run into the question, how long will it serve its purpose for? But for $100, what do you expect? What do you get? You get actually a pretty solid fucking 3 times magnified optic with an RMR mount. Now, the beauty of this scope is that it does come with a red dot up top. It doesn't have to be the cheap one up above. How often do you get to have a 3 times magnified optic with an RMR mount above it for $100? Any takers? Any other company doing that right now? I don't really think so. Now, if you do have a pretty decent SRO or some kind of expensive pistol optic, you could definitely put it up on there. Now, I wouldn't recommend you do that. Granted, it is still a Amazon style, or you know what I mean. It definitely is a cheaper optic. Now, I've shot a real ACOG before. There are still some downfalls when it comes to things like glass clarity. It's not quite as good. However, it is still pretty goddamn decent for what you get for the price point. Now, the scope itself does come with its own cross reticle. You get a battery, but the middle point where the lines do meet ends up illuminating red, and it has, I believe, 5 brightness settings on there, which on the 5th setting in absolute daylight, I've noticed is what works for me if I am using that. Sometimes I'll just run it with no power. So this is definitely a good option if you're looking for an optic that, you know, still has its own reticle without there needing to be a battery in it. I definitely would recommend it. That being said though, guys, enough glazing the optic. I thought I would glaze you guys. Thanks so much for 740 some subscribers. You guys actually make 1,000 subs seem within reach, and I never thought that I'd be here, nor would I ever get a fucking optic sent to me by a company that, you know, when I was first getting into guns, I was that guy. I was buying PSA all day. Anything cheap that I could find, I'm browsing Amazon, and then boom, what do you know? I'm looking at durability tests on Pinty optics. Hey, how good do these run? I'm like, oh, well, this guy threw in his hot tub. Well, I guess it runs well enough for me. So actually, Pinty optics was the first optics that I ever bought for my AR. I believe I bought, I'll throw a picture up somewhere, but I bought that red dot right there. Now, when it comes to your guys' viewership and interacting with my videos, I'm thankful. I see you guys. I see the regulars. You know, we're pretty fucking tight, and I love you guys so much. So I did want to pay it forward. I actually decided to work with this company to get you guys a really good fucking deal. So from November 4th, when this video is out, all the way till November 30th, there is a Black Friday sale going on. Check the campsite page in the description. Use code BD22 within that time frame to get 22% off your optics. Anything on their website, even their cheap shit, you can definitely get 22% off on checkout. So use code BD, that's Bidrigo, BD22 for 22% off your optics. Like I said again, guys, it's actually, even while I'm making this video, it's still pretty surreal to me that I have my own promo code. And let's say that you do watch this video outside of that November time frame and you still want to save some money and get you a decent optic that isn't going to break the bank. From the groupings, as you guys can see, it works pretty goddamn good. So like I said, shouts out to you guys for supporting me in this journey of me trying to be a gun tuber. We got our first sponsorship, y'all. This is actually insane. So we're making the cheap, decent optics even cheaper with that code. Check the campsite in the description. But with all that being said though, that's going to be it for the video. While the optic does have its shortcomings with the red dot up top, for $100, it is definitely not a bad deal to get a decent 3x fixed optic with a nice RMR mount up above that you can use any other optic up top if need be. Now, I wouldn't throw an expensive optic on there because the optic itself is still a fairly budget option, and it wouldn't make sense for you to run like a Trijicon SRO on top of a $100 ACOG. But companies that I do recommend in the budget space that have some pretty decent RMR optics would definitely be CV Life, Swamp Fox, Siley is another good one, Gideon is another good one. Definitely check them out for a decent RMR optic to replace the cheap one. Now, the actual scope itself, actually ran really fucking good. I shot some groups. My wife shot a couple groups, and she's able to group with it. And she is not the best AR marksman. She's getting pretty good at handgun shooting, but the fact that she's able to get hits on paper pretty goddamn accurately with this thing says a lot about the optic. Held zero the whole time that I was out there on the range. I ran about 200 rounds into paper, and yeah, that's pretty much it. This is just me kind of glazing a pretty good budget product that got sent to me from Pinty Optics. Once again, thank you guys so much for your support. Without you guys, I would never even been given this opportunity, let alone have my own affiliate link. So thank you guys once again. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. Boom, it's going to be right up there. If you guys want to reach out or talk to me about anything, please feel free. I'm not that famous of a guy at all by any means, and if you guys are curious on anything budget firearms related or just want to say what's up, you know, I definitely do enjoy that. Whenever somebody hits me in the DM, hey, how's it going, you know, I respond. Okay, and drop a comment down below if you can. Be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.